Hello, good morning, students. Hoping you all are revising whatever concepts are sent to you. So, we were doing the chapter Consumer Equilibrium. Let us continue with that only. We have discussed about the marginal utility analysis and the consumer equilibrium. We have discussed in case of one commodity. So, in that case, let me recall what it was. Units of commodity was given as 1, 2, 3. Then marginal utility of x is equal to, this is also given, that is marginal utility of the unit x. Then in the other column we have the marginal utility m. What is m? That is marginal utility of money. So we are dividing it by 2. Why we have done so? Because the marginal utility of money is equal to 2 utils. So it is equal to 2 units. So when we calculate per unit for x, we will get marginal utility of money for good x as 20 divided by 2, it comes out 10. Then 18 divided by 2, it comes out to be 9. 16 by 2, 8. Likewise 8 divided by 2, it is 4. So over here we have to find out when is the consumer in the state of equilibrium. When it is in the state of equilibrium, I have written equilibrium marginal utility of x divided by price of x, which is equal to marginal utility of money. So when we are able to get this, both these equal, only then we can say the consumer is in the state of equilibrium. So in this case we can say the units of the commodity, when we are having 4 units of commodity, at that time the marginal utility of money is equal to 4 utils, isn't it? So that is why we can say that marginal utility of x is equal to 8. In that case we can say the consumer is in the state of equilibrium. Clear? So this was in the case of one commodity. Now in the case of two commodities, over here we are taking two commodities as x and y. Units of commodity are given. Marginal utility of x is there and marginal utility of y is there. We are consuming two commodities. So when is the equilibrium reached? When marginal utility of x divided by price of x is equal to marginal utility of money, and moreover the marginal utility of x divided by price of y, which it must also be equal to the marginal utility of money. Only then it will be in the state of equilibrium. After this we have the conditions of consumer equilibrium using the marginal utility analysis. So we have taken two commodities, one commodity case and the two commodity case. What are the conditions for those? First one, rupee worth of the marginal utility actually received by the customer is equal to marginal utility of money as specified by the consumer himself. That means he's, in the case of one commodity, he is able to get the equilibrium when the rupee worth of marginal utility, it is exactly equal to rupee worth of the satisfaction. That means the percentage of money he is spending on the purchase of the commodity, it is equal to the percentage of the satisfaction he is receiving. Clear? Then we have two commodity case. In case of two commodity case, similarly rupee worth of the marginal utility should be same across good x and good y, and it is equal to the marginal utility of money. That means he is able to get equal satisfaction, either he is using good x or good y, and it is equal to the marginal utility of money. Clear? Second point is it remains constant. The marginal utility of money, it remains constant. Similarly in case of two commodity also it will remain the constant, it will not change. Then third point, law of diminishing marginal utility, it holds good. That is, it is applicable either we are using in case of one commodity case or in case of two commodity case. Clear? So we can say both second and third conditions will remain the same in case of commodity 1 and 2, and in case of the first condition it will change. The change will be, it will be equal to first, it will be equal to one commodity only, and in case of two commodity case, marginal utility of money, it will be equal to both the utility from both the goods x and y. Then we have law of equimarginal utility. What does it mean? It states that the consumer strikes his equilibrium when the last rupee spent by him gives him equal marginal utility whether he spends it on good X or good Y. That means he is able to get the equal satisfaction on spending his last rupee of the money, and it is giving the equal satisfaction either he is buying good X or good Y. Clear? So that is why it is called the law of equimarginal utility. The last topic of the chapter, the basic limitations of utility analysis. What is the basic limitation? Can you imagine? So at the beginning of the chapter, we have taken the views of the two great economists. Name of the economist was Marshall and the other one was Hicks. Let us recall, what does a Marshall say? He said that we can measure the utility in terms of numbers as 1, 2, 3, 4, cardinal numbers, isn't it? And what were the views of Hicks? He said that utility cannot be measured in terms of number. We can measure it in terms of rank, higher utility or the low utility, or first, second, third, in these ways. So when we talk about the limitation, the basic limitation of utility analysis relates to the basic assumption of this analysis that utility can be expressed in cardinal numbers. So it was in the view of Marshall, implying that utility can be measured in units like 1, 2 and 3. Is it really possible? Do you think as a consumer ever express your satisfaction in terms of units like 1, 2 and 3? So can the consumer express his satisfaction that I am able to get the satisfaction of 2 utils? Isn't it correct? No, perhaps never. Satisfaction at best can be ranked as high or low. So satisfaction, we can always classify it as we have got the higher satisfaction or we have got the lower satisfaction, or it can be compared when two goods are simultaneously consumed. So we can make the comparison. If two goods are compared, it is hard to measure it in figures, so we can't express it in terms of numbers. It is owing to this limitation of the utility analysis that Hicks challenged the relevance of this technique in explaining consumers' equilibrium. Instead, he offered the techniques of indifference curve analysis, the subject matter of next chapter. So the great economist Hicks, he challenged that this technique is not applicable in case of satisfaction. So that is why he has elaborated these consumer equilibrium in the technique of indifference curve analysis, which is there in the next chapter. So we will continue with the next chapter as indifference curve. So this was the last topic of the chapter. With this, we are able to cover up all the topics. I hope you are able to understand. I have already told you to ask your doubts anytime. So your homework is you have to complete the miscellaneous exercise, all the question answers in your notebooks very neatly. Shortly, I will be asking you to send me the homework. Thank you and have a nice day ahead.